All right, we're live. Testing. Mic check. Like everything's working. Welcome. It's Tuesday, March 27th, 2024. We got the new layout going. I like it. You can see the UProfit 200K accounts up at the very top. The top step trades will be placed on the black trade screen right here. So we'll trade our UProfit and our top step funded accounts today. We got 1.55 million. Working on growing the accounts. Yesterday lost about 380 bucks. And it was just a choppy day. I didn't see much. I didn't take many chances. Today, we'll see what we've got in store. Hopefully we'll get some volatility and get some good opportunities. You can see here, I'm looking at the daily chart here and the weekly chart for the E-mini S&P 500. And it looks like we've got a lot of support today coming out of this, 5260 area. And I wouldn't be surprised to see us squeeze back up here to retest 5300. So we'll look to buy the dips today, be a little more careful on the short side. Of course, if everything starts breaking down, we'll adjust. But for now, I think the market's going to be well supported today. So that's how we're going to play ES and NQ. You can see here on NQ, we're also going to look to play the long side dips below 18.5 as we probably push up here to 18.650. Looking at the treasury market, we've got the bonds well supported right now, so rates are stable. That's going to help the stock market. The euro and the dollar are mixed, and crude is mixed as well. So I think we're going to have another choppy day, but hopefully indices give us some clear directional trades to the upside. Let's go ahead and quickly just look at the Dow. The Dow also is, looking like it probably wants to squeeze up, retest 39,950 right up in here. So I think everything's going to be bullish today. Let's see how that pans out. My forecast is not set in stone. If things change, I'll adjust as I see things changing. But for now, heading into the day, it looks like we're going to have a good opportunity to buy some dips today in the indices and put our funded trading accounts to work. Hopefully, that's the goal. All right, looking at the 10-year treasury here, this is really important, you guys, for the stock market, right? You can see I do think that treasuries are going to try and push back up towards these highs, which means that 10-year yield is going to come down, and that should help to put a floor underneath the stock market. So I think that's why you're seeing the stock market now rally off the lows we put in yesterday. I did read on Zero Hedge Premium that the big flush we saw at the close was really just a pension rebalancing. So a lot of pension funds were, rebalancing their end of quarter because we're heading into the end of Q1 right now. Right at the end of this week, we'll close Q1. So there's a lot of pension funds that need to do rebalancing, which is why you're going to see sort of these, we were really choppy yesterday throughout the day. Not much happened. And I was watching the close. I wasn't streaming, but I was watching to see if there were any good trades that set up. I didn't see anything that I liked. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's just, about 100-point flush on the NASDAQ in, 15 minutes. And I wondered, what's going on? So I read later that's the pension funds were rebalancing there. So today with the 10-year, look to push back up here to the 111 level with rates coming down. Again, that's going to help the stock market. So on the ultra bonds, which is what we trade in the treasury space, I think you're going to see a pretty bullish day. Again, I will look to be playing the long side on the ultra bonds. Gold and silver we will trade as well if we see any good setups. I think gold has a pretty good bullish pattern today down into 2200. Still expect choppiness, but we'll see what we've got on gold if any opportunity set up. Silver, silver's got a lot of support here at 2450 for now. I'm still waiting to see where silver closes at the end of this month because it's going to be a really important monthly close for silver based on what I'm seeing on the monthly chart. We're at this $25 an ounce is key for silver. So still a couple more days to find out what goes on with that. But for today, I think bullish on silver, bullish on gold, bullish on treasuries, bullish on the market. Dollar is probably going to continue to be mixed. Crude, I'm also bullish on. You can see crude, we dipped down into these lows. My idea was to buy it into about 81, which we're into now. I think there's a chance we could head back up to 82. So we'll keep a close eye on crude oil today as well. So I think at least we have a pretty clear idea of what we think is going to happen today. Doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to happen, but I like coming into these days where my bias is clear. And yesterday it wasn't that clear. Today it is, quite clear coming into the day. We'll see if anything changes. So let's go ahead now and dial down into our specific markets. You can see we've got the ES. Again, this is the 80,000 contract bar chart. Remember, we're bullish, right? So if I'm bullish heading into the day, you can see we're breaking out to the upside here. That's confirming the bullishness, right? I want to look for signs that my bias is correct or signs that my bias is incorrect, right? So since I have a bullish bias, I want to look for resistance breaking. Well, that's a pretty big break right there of that extension. That's resistance. We broke up and through that. So I expect a lot of support now on pullbacks anywhere down into 52.80 or lower. So if we were to get a nice pullback, down into this level, I'd be looking to buy for the continuation back up, because I think we're headed back up to 5,300, right? So this is how we plan the trades and then execute them according to our plan. Don't ever be in a rush. And, this is how you get the funding. This is how you hang on to the funding. This is how you get payouts. So it's the way to be consistent with your trading, is to come in with a plan and then, do your best to trade your plan. Try not to tilt too much. It does happen to the best of us from time to time, but if we can minimize it, that's helpful to our trading results and our account balances. All right, let's look at the Dow. Sorry, the NASDAQ first. NASDAQ, same thing. We're looking nice and bullish. Let me just check on ES again, see how many yeah, so we still have quite a few contracts left till this bar closes. Remember, we're working on the closing bars here for these intraday volume-based bars. That just kind of helps to anchor you guys, because what I found is that a lot of people are over trading, and when you're over trading, it's likely a result of not having sort of a fixed structure. For me, I trade much better when I just wait, generally speaking, for the close of each intraday volume-based bar, because it kind of anchors me from close to close. And then I'm not guessing, if I'm not waiting for the close, I can be guessing, where's this bar likely to close? And, sure, I can come up with my ideas on what I would do based on where it closes, but I like to wait for the bar to close, make the decision. Again, guys, anything you can do to help yourself not tilt, not, overtrade, not get emotional, all those little things you can do, whatever works for you, is going to ultimately be beneficial to your results in the long run. And this is why I've, kind of honed in on the way that I trade now after many, many years of trading. This is how I do it, because this is what works for me, right? Because the way we learn is by messing up a lot early in our careers. And if we can stick around long enough to fix it, then ultimately we become successful. So that's the goal. All right, so ES, we're waiting for this close. We got some time here. No major news today, by the way. I'll recheck the calendar in a second, but I didn't see anything pressing on the news docket. So let's look at NQ. NQ also pushing higher as expected. So we're just waiting for a pullback on NQ. We've still got about 14,000 contracts left till this closes. So we'll wait for that. Let's look at the Dow. Looking at the Dow here, really nice squeeze here to the upside. So they're all kind of looking the same right now. They're bullish. They're confirming each other. And now we just wait for a nice little pullback on one of them or all of them and go long. That's it. If we're wrong, we're wrong. We lose money. But we've at least planned the trade. So if it pulls back and we go long, we get in, we risk some funded capital, we see what happens. All right, let's look at the Ultra Bond here. Yeah, so Ultra Bond, man, nice pullback there. It's always, it's always the days when I don't watch London. I look back and I'm like, oh, that was a good setup. And then the days I actually get out of bed and watch London, nothing happens. I can't watch London. It's too much. I just got to live with what I missed during London. But this was a nice pullback on support here. The Ultra Bonds into 127.16. I'm kind of hoping we get another gift like this, pull back, buy here, pull up. So hopefully we'll see a choppy grind and we can play the long side. I mean, we can probably play the short side as well. I think bonds, I think we're going to see some chop. So both sides are, I think, safe for the bonds, but I do think that the long side is the quote unquote safer side for now. What I mean by safe is that I try to trade in the direction of where I think the weekly and the daily charts are going. And that just kind of helps put the odds on your side a little bit more. Obviously, you got to be, more right than wrong on your directional calls. But if you are, and then you can trade in that direction, then you just have a little bit better edge. So that's why I like to do that. Anyways, we've got about 4,000 contracts left. Well, 3,300 contracts left till this closes. So we got a 20,000 contract bar. You can always see the contracts I'm using for each market up here. So UBM, that's the Ultra Bond, 20,000 shares. There it is. So then you can see the counter down here is on 16,700. So we've got about 3,200 left until this closes. That means this bar close. We make our decision and we go on to the next bar. Kind of how it works. All right, let's look at gold. All right, so gold's getting a nice little pullback here. So the question with gold, you know, if we do get the pullback on gold, do we want to go long? I think we do, because if bonds are pushing higher, yields are dropping. It's not like the dollar is super strong right now. That's really the one environment I wouldn't want to, you know, get long gold or silver if the dollar was really strong against, you know, the other G7 currencies. But right now it's kind of a mixed bag. Not too worried about that. So with bonds pushing higher, yields dropping, you know, everything looking pretty bullish at this exact moment. If gold pulls back, you know, we might have to take a shot at longing down here. So we just have to wait and see. You know, would I long here in the middle of the range? Probably not. Probably wait till we get a retest of those lows down there. So let's just be patient on gold. We've still got about 8,000 contracts left until we have to make a decision. Let's go ahead and look at silver. And guys, I'm trading just, these are the largest, well, with the exception of the Dow. The Dow is kind of a small contract, $5 per point. But ES, NQ, the ultra bonds, gold, silver, crude, I trade these markets because they give me the most leverage on my funded accounts. Because, you know, on two of the funded accounts, I'm up over $3,000. So on Top Step, I can trade 10 contracts on that account. And believe me, when we see a good trade here, I'll go all 10 contracts on that Top Step account, because I'll try and pick a good trade. If I lose $3,000, I lose $3,000. But, you know, if I win on 10 contracts, you know, I can make maybe 9, 10 grand on a good trade and bump that account up to 12, 13,000 in profit. That's what I want to do. And I'm willing to take the risk to do that. But you got to get over 3,000 in profit on Top Step in order to have access to those extra contracts, right? So that's why I focus on these markets, because they give you the most bang for the buck in terms of your contract size. So UProfit is a little bit worse. I think it's after $2,000 in profit, you can go from 3 to 4 contracts. So they don't really give you that much more leeway. Anyways, it is what it is. So, and by the way, you can see my Top Step depth of market is here. And I got to figure out how to block out my Top Step account numbers, because anytime I change the account numbers up here, you guys see them. And I don't think it's that big of a deal. But then again, I don't want my funded account numbers all over the place. Just, you know, better to be safe. So I got to figure out a way to block those out. But for the time being, when I switch to a funded account or whatever, I just quickly take away the screen share. I change it and then I come back. So that's, if you wonder why I sometimes do that, that's the reason. Just trying to keep the account numbers, you know, private. My UProfit DOM, you can see over here again, just on one of my other screens. You see how it says UProfit Trader Chicago. That's the live UProfit funded account. Well, I've got all three of my UProfit funded accounts over on that DOM. I can rotate between them, just like here in Top Step. I can rotate between all my Top Step funded accounts. So that's pretty cool. I think I like the setup now in terms of the you know, the way the charts look. I'm on the webcam. You guys can see the running balances. So I'm just going to share the results every day. So silver, we actually did just get a pretty nice close down there into 2460. I think that would have been a pretty decent long into that support right there. But we missed it because, you know, we weren't watching it yet. That's okay. But this is what we want to see. This is kind of what we're looking for, guys. You see how we're kind of just grinding up here. You get the pullback on silver here. There's a really nice extension. You know, you're at these lows here, basically. So 2460, you know, not a bad overall support level right there. And when you look at the daily chart, we think silver has a lot of support down there. So that's the kind of trade, you know, that we want to take. So, but now I can't chase this because I would have wanted to get in, you know, around 2460 down in there, but that's okay. I think there's going to be some trades today. So crude, this was a good buy earlier here on crude down there. Let's see if we can get a move down here to these lows. I would love to potentially try and long crude if we get another test of these lows. So we'll keep a close eye on crude. So look, it's 8:08 a.m. We've got a good lay of the land here for what we expect for the session, how we want to trade it. And that's all we can do. The rest is kind of up to the trading gods. All we can do is come in as prepared as possible and put on our trades and accept the outcome. right? Because it's about following the process. And if you just do that and you have a good process, the results will take care of themselves. So losing is not fun, but if you can learn to just kind of roll with your losing trades, overall, you'll be a much better trader, because you're going to lose probably half the time. I mean, that's just the way it's going to work. I know on YouTube, nobody ever loses ever, but you know, in the world that I'm familiar with, you probably lose about half the time. Just got to make more on your winners than you lose on your losers. That's it. All right, so let's cycle through again. ES, again, we're waiting, but we know what we want to do. NQ, 27,000 contracts. So we'll see. NQ might drop down here and give us a gift to get long. The Dow, we're about to close here. We use 8,000 contracts on the Dow. So, you know, is this the instance here? We're trending up. Do I want to buy that trend? Not really. I want to wait for a pullback, because the only way that I'll jump in on a trending market, which I sort of call chasing, is, you know, those rare days where it's just a runaway market. Other than that, the majority of the time, if you chase trends, you don't have a good risk to reward proposition. You're better off just waiting for the pullback. And if you miss it, you miss it. That's you know, all I can say, because these markets only trend about 20% of the time, and you really only get a really firing trend, I don't know, on average, probably 1 out of every 6, 7 days, 8 days. So the statistics tell you not to chase. All right, so that's why, for example, here on the Dow, you know, sure, when this one closes here, could we just fire up like that? Yeah, we could, but the odds are that we would come down here first, shake out some weak longs. That's where we want to get long for the next push back up here. And then you also have a much better risk to reward proposition, because if you get long into a good support level, you know your line in the sand. If it goes down here, that's your stop. You know, you take your loss, you get out. So you got a better proposition there. Let's go ahead and look at the Ultra Bond. All right, so we're about to get a close here on the Ultra Bond. You can see 19,500 contracts. You know what I short that? No. At this point, I just want something like this. That's a really good one right there. 27.16 up to 27.29. You know, on 3 contracts, that's $1,500. On 10 contracts, that's about $5,000. So those are the kind of moves we're waiting for, and they do come. All right, let's look at gold. So gold, you know, if it pulls back like silver did, remember silver right here. So if gold gives us a pullback right here, we might have to buy it. Go again and look at the gold. We'll prepare for this trade, because I got to prepare also which one of my funded accounts I want to put each trade on. So let's look at gold here on the daily and the weekly charts. Yeah, kind of choppy, but you got a lot of support down in here. So as Bitcoin's up today 1%. I think we can probably take a shot on gold. I probably wouldn't do it on my 10 contract account, but I would do it on one of my 3 contract accounts. Why not? Again, that's if we get this pullback here. I don't know. Typically, you're better off waiting for a re-challenge of these lows, but sometimes you don't get it. Like here on silver, you can kind of see we are making steadily higher lows here. So that was a good pullback in a trend to get long on silver. Whereas gold, you're still in a bit more chop. You see, you're not trending quite as much because you had these lows down here. So we'll see. We got some time to decide. Still got about 6,000 contracts that need to trade here with gold. And the reason I'm continually cycling through these is because I want to see what the relationships are, what the correlations are, and I also want to see, you know, make sure we don't miss anything. That's really important. All right, let's get a drink of water. All right. That was nice with some lemon water. Okay. So there's the NASDAQ. There's the Dow. Ultra bonds pushing even higher now. Yeah, I think gold. The crude's pushing lower. Nice. Crude might set up a buy later. I think on the radar right now is potentially a gold long into, you know, this 2200 area, something like that. Let's see here. And what contract are we in for gold? I think we are in... Oh, we're in June. Nice. All right. We're in the June contract for gold. Okay. Yeah, so I think gold we might have to buy down in here around 2,200. How much would we go? Three contracts, maybe risk 1,500 bucks. But I want to, yeah, I'd probably do it on one of my top step accounts as well. All right, let me go ahead and switch out my accounts here. One sec. While we go dark, so I can switch out the account number. Guess I'll put it on that account right there. 3 contracts. All right. And back the screen. There we are. All right, so I've switched the, you can see I've got Express. That's one of my funded accounts. We'll go 3 contracts. I've got gold up because I'm interested maybe in longing gold here. We'll see. I will, on gold, 3 contracts. I'll risk, you know, about $5, I guess, on gold. So what's that, 50 ticks? So you can get kind of confused when you're trading all these live accounts, but it's fine. Maybe we'll go for, you know, I don't know, go for 100 ticks, 10 bucks, something like that. 2 to 1-ish. Now we will go ahead and set this up on the Rhythmic account, which I got these 3 U profits here. Which one do I want to use? Probably, probably, let's see which one. I guess this one here. That's fine. The one with 1997 in it. Yeah, that'll be okay. Let's get our symbol up there. GM4 COMEX. And I gotta set up a bracket for gold. GC to target 100. You guys gotta bear with me while I do the admin. Setting all this stuff up. So we got 3 contracts. We'll do the stop 50. That's good. That's GC. We save that. Boom. Okay. You got to set up your different brackets here for Rhythmic. A little different. All right, so that's good. We're getting ready for gold here. Got to get all of our ducks in a row. I got a bunch of spreadsheets, guys. I got accounting because I got to keep track of where I'm at with these different accounts. I'm probably going to put this gold trade. I don't know. I'm probably going to put it at, I might put it on 2 accounts. I might put it on 1 top step, 1 U profit. I might risk 1,500 on each. We'll see. I think so. Gonna get a little lay of the land here. What account number? All right, so that's there. Okay. And okay. So is good. Getting ready to rock here on gold. And let's see if our stop is 50 ticks, right? So on the full contract, that's $500 a contract, right? I think so. And the question is, Yeah. Okay. So. That's good. I like that. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on gold here, guys. This is the one that, you know, the 8 o'clock hour, typically I like to trade. I mean, if I see something good set up on the equities, you know, during pre-market, I'll take it. But, you know, typically bonds, gold, silver, crude, those are the ones, you know, I like to focus on from 8 o'clock to 9:30. And, of course, the rest of the day, too. I just mean the 8 o'clock hours, you'll usually see bonds, gold, silver move. So let's take a look at silver. So silver is... I think silver was a good buy down here. You know, that's my question too. What I want to, yeah, for silver to, because I'd be willing to get long silver 24.60. I really would. But do I want to? They got to be set up for both. I think gold is more likely to maybe give us a buy here. So I'll wait on gold. Silver, I would have liked to have been in on this from about this 24.60 level. You can see oftentimes that this will happen here. You get the pullback, but you see how the extension right there, when you connect this high through this low, you get that pink dot right there, that trend line. You see how if you, on this bar, it was there, but if you bring it across there, you see how it went and still went to that exact level right there. So you can get some really good entries here when you're just kind of dialed in and patiently waiting. So, yeah, silver was a good one there. Let's see. Gold might give us a good one. Gold just, you know, the only thing with gold that's a little different. See how you get this 2-bar push. 1, 2. So when you go boom, boom, and then you pull back, you sometimes can pull back a little steeper than you think. Silver here, you see how it's just a little more fluid to the upside. There's your pullback. Like it's hard to explain, but I definitely like the price structure on silver here better for the long side, but since I missed it, I'm going to have to compromise and go with gold. Okay, let's see. So ES might give us a pullback. We're waiting on that. NQ we're waiting on. The Dow we're waiting on. Yeah, there's ultra bonds. You know, could be a lot of resistance there at 128, but again, I'm kind of waiting for the long side down here. Crude, we're going to wait and see if we get an opportunity down here to go long. Silver, we did get a nice pullback already, and gold, we might get the pullback here. And I'll just have to make the decision if I want to get long up here around 2205, or do I want to risk missing it but get long a little bit lower down around 2200, because the, you know, the daily, you've got a pretty wide support zone here. I mean, you've got support anywhere from this 2200 to basically 2195 up to 2205. It's pretty wide. So it's kind of, at this point, it's only, got to use your judgment. If the support zone on the daily is this wide, you can see there's 2195, 2205. So this is the daily support zone in blue, right? So is it going to stop here, or is it going to go test the low of it? Right? These are the questions. So let's see. Typically, I like to take trade. There's a balance, right? I like to take trades where you don't want to be over picky, right? But you also want to make good trades. You know, you want to have good trade selection. So you just got to find that balance between, you don't want to be too selective, but you don't want to be, you know, sloppy either. And so on, like I can look back here and see for sure that's a buy, like no questions asked, because you're just grinding up here, then you're basing out, beautiful support. I mean, that's a great buy. Those are the ones I want. Silver was definitely a nice buy, just beautiful. Now the question is gold also a nice buy here? I mean, I think so. If silver's pushing here, so I mean, they can move a little bit differently, but I gotta say, if silver's pushing, you know, I think we might have to get long and just see what happens. something. See, this is a little better. You see how you get that flush down right there? That's nice. See, we could see one of these where it flushes, because gold can be a little bit of a tricky, animal sometimes, kind of like crude. It can just, it always kind of wants to flush you a little more. I'm always careful about longing in the middle of the range. Like you can see here, we are in the middle of the range, right? Here is the middle, here's the top, here's the bottom. Gotta be careful longing in the middle. You know, silver, like I said, I wouldn't say this is middle of the range. I would say this is more, you know, you're in this channel here. So it's a good buy there, a safer buy on silver. So I'm just debating, is gold as good of a buy here? Does this categorize as a channel, or are we in the middle of a range that's going to end up retesting the lows? That's the decision I got to make. And you know, when you're risking, if I'm going to risk $1,500 on 2 accounts, right? That's 3K like that. Okay, it's a funded account, but still, you know, I don't mind losing, but I also don't want to look back on a trade and go, that was kind of like a 50-50 trade. Why did I take that? Just wait for the ones that are, you know, really good, which means you got to have patience. But I'm thinking about it. We got time. We have about 3,000 contracts left till this closes. We've certainly got some time to decide. I mean, a close at 22.10 here would, you know, if we close there, then the trend run to the upside would still be intact. And then I could have a little more confidence trying to buy 22.05, especially if silver continues to push higher. Look at the dollar here, guys, because this is really going to determine. Let's look at the dollar against the euro. I mean, here's the euro futures. I mean, look at the weekly here. This is just looking very, very weak, right? So if the dollar is going to continue to get strong against the euro, which this weekly chart sure looks like it, right? If the weekly is looking bearish here, then that means that the daily chart here, you know, we wouldn't expect this support to be that strong, because we see the weekly energy is pushing hard to the downside. So right now we would expect this to barrel through that. That would be a, you know, a headwind for gold and silver if that dollar breaks out against the euro today. So these are all the little, you know, thought processes that go into my trade selection, and it's important. So ES, we still got a ways to go here. NQ as well, we're waiting. Dow, waiting, sitting there. Ultra bonds, waiting for a pullback. Gold, we've got the pullback. I think with that stronger dollar today, I really do think the prudent thing with gold here, since we're in the middle of the range, you know, because you got to look at this. If we're trending up in gold and you're in the middle of the range here, and the euro's just gaining against the dollar, meaning you got a weak dollar, bonds are really pushing, that's a great time to bet on a continuation trade with gold. Whereas right now, with the dollar strong against the euro, bonds are at resistance for now. I think the odds are, you know, even though it's tempting, you got a lot of temporary support here into 22.05, but I think the odds are stronger that we go down here and retest these lows. And then that's where, you know, I would love to take a shot maybe at buying down here. And you get a, you know, I think a safer trade for the move back up like that. Kind of like you see back here. You see this yesterday? Or maybe this was 2 days ago. It doesn't really matter. You see here? It's all the same. It's kind of like this, right? See how you're kind of pushing higher here? Then you get that pullback. And if you don't look at these nuances, you might look at this pullback right here and go, you know what? It's pulling back. We're trending. I think I'm going to buy gold. And then just, you know, bang, you know, it goes against you $10. Not fun, right? Whereas if you, doesn't mean you're always right, but if you can just use the probabilities of the intermarket correlations and then match them up to your playbook, it gives slightly higher odds. Well, quite a bit higher odds, but any little amount that you can, you know, push the edge in your favor is going to help you. It makes a big difference. So on this particular one, had you waited for that extension and that high connector, I mean, that's a beautiful buy. Because what did they do? They went down, they took out all the stops, and then boom, that gives it the fuel to pop to the upside. So not only did that trade not go against you at all, really, but you had if you held it to the close of the next bar, you had a massive winner. That's a really good risk to reward proposition. Those are the types of trades I'm looking for. Do I always get them? No, of course not. But I find that by, you know, using my process and using my Owings market analysis here with the scoreboard, the correlations, I'm able to, you know, it means watching a lot of trades go in your direction that you thought without you, but it also means staying out of a lot of, you know, 50-50 trades, because the 50-50 trades will nickel and dime you to death and eat you alive. You want to put on a trade where you think you got at least a 60-40 chance for success, hopefully even a little better, maybe 65-35. So I think with all that said, I'm just going to be patient and say, hey, look, I'm willing to take gold down here, but I'm not willing to take it here in the center of the range. And if this happens to pick up this support level here and just push back up and I'm not in, I'm okay, because I had my reasons for why I don't want to take it here. Like, oh, you're being so selective. It's like, yeah, I believe me. Like, the gambler in me wants to just go in on everything that looks reasonable, but the trader in me has to say, no, hold your horses, wait. And it's important. I've noticed when I trade my own money, this is how I trade, exactly like this. I'm very careful because it's my own money, like, right? If I had $3 grand of my own cash on the line, that's a lot of money, right? So I want to wait and put that to work when I really believe in the trade. One of the tendencies I can see creeping into my mind as I'm doing these funded accounts is like, it's only a funded account. Yeah, but that's a horrible way to think, because even though it's a funded account, if I make real winners, you know, get tokens, I get paid real money. So I might as well treat it as real money, right? So that's why I'm so selective, just in case anybody wonders. And, you know, it'll pay off. Like, once we start getting some massive payouts, you know, I think you'll see what I mean, why it pays off to be selective. It doesn't make for the most exciting trading in the world, right? Like, it's not super exciting if I'm not sitting here scalping and going in and out, and like that's way more exciting, right? But if you want entertainment, or if I want entertainment, it's much cheaper and actually more fun to just watch a movie or something, right? Or, you know, go to the beach, go surfing, do something fun. Trading is not a place to get your entertainment kicks out, and I see a lot of that in the YouTube world. Believe me, I can get sucked into that too, because it is very fun. Trading can be fun, especially when you're winning. But, you know, you got to be careful about turning it into your main source of, you know, fun and entertainment, because that'll be a good way to get whacked. Not in the mafia sense of the word, but, you know, in the account balance sense of the word. All right. So ES, we're waiting. NQ, waiting. We're at 8:30 Eastern. We can see, I did double check the news here. We don't have any news. We've got the crude oil number out at 10:30, so that's a good one. We'll keep an eye on. We might trade that one. But other than that, just no. Well, we did have the South African interest rate decision at 9, but other than that, not a lot of. Do we have it? I got a Canadian 10-year bond auction at noon. Do we have any U.S. bond auctions? You guys are gonna always watch for the 1 p.m. bond auctions, 1 p.m. Eastern. I always miss those, but they do. Especially if you get a 10-year bond auction, so a 10-year note auction. Today we have a 7-year note auction at 1 p.m. That could move the market, definitely. We've got the Fed's Waller speaking, but not until 6 p.m. Eastern. So that's after the market closes. But anyways, that bond auction, 7-year, note auction, that is probably going to be something to keep an eye on. All right, so ES, we're waiting. NQ, we're waiting. YM, waiting. UB, Ultra Bonds, again, I want the move down here. I wouldn't really want to short this. I mean, I don't think it's a terrible short up here, since bonds are kind of... We look at the daily chart of the UB. Let's look at the daily UB here. I mean, it's probably not a terrible place to short bonds. I don't know. I could do it on one account just to... But I just think the long side is the safer side for now. And I gotta go with my gut. Yeah, so here's gold. I've determined I'm gonna wait If it comes down here, I'm more interested in the buy. And yeah, silver, you can see, guys. So even though that was a decent little spot here to go long, I think silver is going to actually end up doing this like it did yesterday. Here, basically, you see how you pull back here and then it just kind of stays and then flushes. I'm waiting for more of a flush type situation. I like the flushes, you know, those are where you get the best risk to reward. So that's not a flush. Crude, if we can get a flush down there, would be a good long. The ultra bonds, I mean, that was kind of a little, it's not really a flush, but I don't know, I could maybe do the ultra bonds on one account. Here's the ultra bonds. We may come back down here. Bonds have been kind of choppy lately. I might do it on one account. On that account. What do I have that set for? 30 and 15. Okay. I've got it set for 30 and 15 on the bonds. That would be 30. Do I want to short the bonds here? That's the question. I don't think it's a horrible short. Question is it a good short? Let's take a look again. See, this is the bonds, the ultra bond. This is the weekly chart here, right? This is the daily chart. We're kind of grinding higher, and I do have a slight bullish bias overall on the weekly chart here and the daily chart for bonds. So I think the safer side, safer, you never know what's going to happen, but I think it's going to be from the long side, but we are kind of chopping around, so we may see a flush here back down before we see another move back up. The question is, do I want to, you know, take a little bit of risk on one of the top step accounts and one of the U-Profit accounts and throw on a bond short? That's what I have to decide. Where's the easy money today? That's what I like to try and decide. Where's the easy money? I think there's going to be, you know, there's never easy money, but I think longing stocks and just being patient and waiting for a pullback here on ES, NQ, YM. If we just patient and let these continue to trend higher and wait for a pullback to get long, I think that's a very safe trade. Safe, nothing safe, but you know what I mean, for the indices today, especially if bonds continue to grind higher. That means yields are stable and dropping. Stock market will like that. The dollar's not really doing much right now, so that's stock market positive. So I think the indices just waiting for some nice pullbacks. That's a good trade to wait for, where we can risk, you know, $1,500 on, you know, a couple of my funded accounts here. I'd feel good about that, because I always have to ask myself, do I feel good about, you know, risking on a couple of accounts right here, $1,500 a piece, $3 grand on this bond short? It might drop, but do I want to spend $3 grand of funded money on might? You know, not really. And I talk myself through this, guys, because when I'm streaming, I share it with you guys, but when I'm trading for myself, these are the thoughts that go through my head. And I try to reserve my trades for trades that, you know, at the end of the day, if you can get one or two really good ones, you know, if you wait for those, they come along. And if you're risking $1,500, $3 grand on a trade, yeah, when it works, you'll lose $1,500 or $3 grand. But when it, you know, when you lose, but when it works, you'll make $6 grand, right? So in the real, I know in YouTube land, $6 grand is not a lot of money, but you know, in my world, $6 grand, that'll pay some bills, right? So, I'm content to just wait for those trades that give me the best opportunity to extract, you know, that money out of the market, and then do it again and again and again. And, you know, just because I have these funded accounts and I'm going to be super aggressive with them, probably going to blow out a ton of them. I haven't blown out one yet. But that's because the market hasn't given me the opportunity to be super aggressive yet. But we're coming into a period now, I think end of Q1, we got some more earnings starting next week. I think we're going to start to see some volatility kick up, and I've got a lot of powder that's dry in order to try and take advantage of that volatility and either get some big payouts on these funded accounts, which is the goal, or blow some out and bring some new ones back up. But I want to pick my spots to do that, in the right moments, right? So that's really important. So that's why I'm going to wait to buy gold potentially down here into 21.95. So kind of the key levels, let's go ahead and mark these off, you guys, just so we don't end up doing anything stupid later, which is very easy to do. You do a bunch of good analysis, you come up with the game plan where you want to transact, and then all of a sudden, you forget what you thought about, you didn't write it down, you come back, you're like, that looks good, you buy it. You go, wait a second, didn't I want to wait until that went down to 21.95? Like, so I'm going to mark it on the chart here. Let's go to our drawing. Let's make a box, our rectangle on TradeStation. This is kind of the overall area. Doesn't want to. Let's see. It might make me. Let's do it again. Let's see if we can move it. There we go. TradeStation is sometimes a little funky, but I like it overall. I use Sierra charts too sometimes, but I don't know. Something with the rollover data on Sierra charts. I'm just going to the continuous contract on TradeStation now until I can figure out what the hell's going on with Sierra charts. It's fine. You got to have backups. You got to have lots of different charting packages. So blue, I'm always going to chart support for blue. Okay, so if you see blue, right? You see how my bands up here are more red, and down here they're more blue. I always have resistance. You see how the near high, this red line is red, the near low is the blue line. That's blue. That's support. The green is the envelope. All the other dots, those are important geometric trend lines that I learned from my mentor. He was a very successful trader. And anyways, I will always chart support in blue unless I have a brain fart, and don't do that. But assuming my brain is working, if you see a blue box, it's a support box. If you see a red box, it's a resistance box. So this is where I'm willing to maybe buy gold later. That's the one, because you want to look back at the day every day, and you want to say, did I wait for those setups, right? Did I wait for those setups where I want to put my capital at risk? And if the answer is yes, you patiently waited, you're going to have a really good long career, right? Just don't be in a rush. I think that's the number one thing. When everybody's new, and when I was new a long time ago, I was also in a rush. It's very normal to be in a rush. You're like, you got to make $1 million by, next Tuesday or something. Like, it's just better to not be in a rush, and then follow your process, and the money will come, right? So important. And I think it's difficult, because YouTube is cool, and there's a lot of really good stuff on YouTube, absolutely. But there's also a lot of dopamine hits, right? Like, just got to make all this money, and everybody's flashing and all that kind of stuff. And, it's cool. It's fun to see, but it's not really, the odds of you hitting that quickly are not good. And it's better, of any of us, it's better to play the long game and, wait for the good setups. So, because on these funded accounts, right, if you wait for good setups and you have a good week and you end up making 10 grand in a week, I mean, that's awesome. That's a great week. All right, so there's our pullback in gold. It just closed. It's not bad, really. Like, when I look at this, I'm like, it's pretty tempting. I got to be honest. Like, it's pretty tempting to buy that, but it's not what I would deem, I don't want to say AAA, but it's not really a B plus or better. This is more of like a B minus, like a solid B minus trade. How do I rank that? That's subjective based on my experience, with my patterns and my playbooks. But B minus, 50-50. It could go up, it could go down. But I want to try and take B plus or better trades where I think I got a 60-40 or better, right? I would rate a AAA trade or an A plus trade or an A trade. That's something where I think I got a 70-30, right? Doesn't mean I'm always right. I just have to use my subjective judgment to determine how I feel about that trade based on the pattern, the type of trading, what the scoreboard's doing, all these different things is really important. So there's our marker on gold. Let's see, it might go up. For those of you who are super aggressive, there's going to be some support here. Might go up. Eat your heart out. All right. So ES, you can see we're just kind of pushing higher. Still got plenty of time to wait for this bar to close. And I will, because I have a bullish bias coming into the day, I mean, the last couple of opens, guys, like there's been no volatility. The open on indices has been terrible. But today, maybe we'll get some volatility. I will look to go long, and I'll pick a good spot, you know, probably on the NASDAQ, just because you get a bit more volatility. But so at 9:30 in 45 minutes, we'll see if we have an opening trade on the indices. So we've got to wait for that, because they are grinding higher. So, you know, that's the kind of environment where we can either go in at market and just, you know, hope we get lucky and it pushes higher. I always like to wait, you know, try and pick a good spot. You know, as the if I'm long bias at the open on the NASDAQ, let's say, I like to pick a good spot with my indicators where I'm willing to say, hey, if we get one of those quick snaps down where you can see that they're flushing from stops or whatever, and I can get long down there, you know, that's a good risk to reward proposition. Those are the kind of trades I like at the open, rather than just getting in and hoping that it just goes your direction immediately. I think that's a little bit more of a risky trade, unless of course you're only targeting, you know, 10 ticks or something, but I target a lot more than that, so I need to look for better entries. All right, so that's ES, NQ, YM. We're just waiting on these for now. UB again, like I said, this is probably a similar trade to gold. It's probably a B- to short this. It's not a horrible trade, not a bad idea, but you know, is it one that I want to put money on at risk on? Not really. And then, guys, the frustrating thing can be sometimes, right? You're patient, you wait, you take eventually what you think is a B+ or better setup according to your playbook, whatever that is, right? And then it loses, and then you get all pissed off, like, and then you see a couple of B- win. You just gotta stick to your guns. Whatever you do, do it consistently, right? So don't be worried about all the trades you saw and you didn't take. Just focus on the ones you want to take and be consistent about the ones you take. And then, you know, as long as you have a decent edge, you'll make money, right? May not make money every day. Only people on YouTube do that. But, you know, you'll make money most of the time, which is good. I lost $380 yesterday. You guys, I don't know if you saw that, but where I lost that was on the, that was actually on Ultra Bonds right here yesterday. So yesterday, when I saw this pullback here, right there. See, this was kind of the mistake I made yesterday. This is why I'm not buying gold right here, because this was the mistake I made yesterday. You see how we pulled back? This was on the back of the durable goods news announcement, durable goods order that came out, and we flushed down here. I bought like right in here at, I think, 127.7 right here, because I thought that was a lot of support here. And then I could see, based on that close, we'd broken the support. I took a 2-tick loss on 3 contracts on 2 accounts. That's why I lost 187 or something per account. And that ended up being, you know, a good, I got in, I was in it for like 5 minutes. I gave it a chance, but I could see the price, it wasn't responding to the support the way I wanted it to. So I just cut it. And, you know, that ended up being the smart thing to do, because it ended up going against me quite a bit had I held on. And ultimately I would have survived if I held it, but I don't want to take that much heat if I can help it. So anyways, this is a good example yesterday of a trade where I was a little bit like, it was B-y, right? I was like, it's not a bad place to take a trade. So I said, fuck it. I took it. And it's just not a smart way to trade. So that's why today, you know, because I was reviewing my notes from last night that I took from yesterday, because I try and do that every day, where I, you know, it's more about psychologically that I trade my patterns and stuff. They work if I just implement them, trade the edge. So it's a psychological game. Do you know, take the right patterns in the right moment, you know, based on what you really feel and what you really know about that, you know, about that pattern in that position in that moment according to your playbook. So yesterday, I was a little like, hey, it might go up. Let's take it. Not a good reason to take a trade. So that's why today, for example, here with bonds, I'm looking at this going, well, there is some resistance here. Could I short this? Yeah, it kind of be the same as the long I took yesterday. It might work, but I don't really want to be, you know, in on those. So that's why I'm just waiting. And like I said, I think the easier money today, there's never easy money. The analysis, the bias can be wrong, but the easier money for me today is to wait for pullbacks on the indices, or really wait for crude, bonds, gold, silver to maybe flush a low a day, take some stops out, then get long for a push higher. I think that's where the smart trades are today. Doesn't mean I'm going to be right. It's just that that's what I think, and I got to trade what I think, you know, based on, you all my experience and my patterns and my edge and all this kind of stuff. It's all we can ever do. So let's see what happens with gold. That's why I didn't take this trade, even though it's not bad. Let's see what happens if it gets down here, right? So silver, I kind of liked this a little bit at the beginning, but then as I started to think through and do the analysis, I said, no, I want to wait for a lower day. And look, silver, that was a tempting buy there, but now we are pushing lower. So I think our patience is going to be rewarded today. So let's go ahead and draw our boxes. So here on gold, if you guys got your own charts and, you want to know what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you because I'm waiting. Gold, I'm interested in longing potentially down here. That's the blue support box. And that's based on the daily chart, the weekly chart, this is ultra bonds, but if we look at the gold chart here, so this is the daily gold here and weekly gold. We've got a lot of support, but I think, it doesn't look like it wants to race off to the upside. So if it doesn't look like it wants to race off to the upside, I want to wait for a pullback toward the low of the day. Because you got to realize for markets to make big moves, guys, you've got to have trapped traders, right? Nobody's trapped. It's not going to move, really. I mean, unless it's just a runaway bull market and everybody's just hitting the ask like higher and higher, right? But generally speaking, these markets are moving on trapped traders. So you got to think, where are the traders trapped? If you're getting in a position in the middle of the range, chances are you're going to be the trap trader. And believe me, I don't point the finger at you. I've been the trap trader many times. But you want to be the hunter, not the prey, right? So let other people get trapped and then take the trade. That's the lemon water. That's nice. All right. So gold daily, weekly chart. I don't think it's going to be a runaway market to the upside, which is why I've put my support box down here near the lows of the day. And even though we could bounce from here for sure, I'm just not willing to engage in the middle of this range, okay? Silver is going to be similar. Let's go ahead and draw a support box here on silver. That one or that one. I think anywhere down here, kind of this whole range. Right down in here. And let's see here. One moment. My wife is home. I'll have to see what's going on. Let me just check in with my wife here for 1 second, and then we will draw our boxes and get ready. All right, so there's our silver box somewhere down here, right? This is just TradeStation is making my box all weird. There's the box. Okay, something like that for silver. Crude definitely down in here. Let's go ahead and draw our box. Really anywhere down here. I think crude has already made the flush earlier, but somewhere down in here for crude could be a good spot. So we got our support box on crude here for silver. Oops. TradeStation is just being a little funky right now. TradeStation's not bad. It's not bad. It's just not. Anyways, it wants silver to have a big support box. So I guess that's just the way it has to be. All right, so gold is going to be here. I'm going to see how that goes. Ultra bonds also. I'm looking for a flush down in here. I think you're going to see a lot of support down in here today. Go ahead and just put this over there. Somewhere down in here for ultra bonds. See, this is good because visually we keep track of where we are and where we want to be in on these positions if we get a good pullback. So we got our support levels. So the Dow, these are a little harder. It kind of depends, but I know I want long, so just down in here. I don't have to draw a box yet. NASDAQ, anywhere down in here if we get a pullback. ES, sort of the same thing. We can see we're about to get a close here on the NASDAQ, but we're just kind of pushing higher. So that's pretty much it. Oh, hey, Andy. How you doing, man? I didn't even see the message. I don't know if you're still there, but good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I gave myself a nice haircut. It was time. It was getting a little too straggly, and this is just easier, you know? And as I work my way up towards 50, I gotta keep it nice and short as it falls out more and more. So it's a nice spring look for me. It'll grow out a little bit, but at this point in my life, I have other things to focus on besides my hair. My hair did its job when I was younger. I have a beautiful wife. I'm good now. But nice to see you, my friend. I hope all is well. Hope you're having spring there in Austria. Here in Sweden, today was like our first day above 10 degrees in like 6 months. So we've had it's been a long, cold, dark winter here visiting my wife's family in Sweden. The rest of the world, guys, if you look at a map where I'm at in Sweden, I mean, it's basically, if you follow like Anchorage, Alaska over, you know, it's like everybody, like you're watching these YouTube videos and everybody else is like out, you know, in their convertibles and they're enjoying the spring weather. They're like, woohoo, you know, it's 65, 70 degrees, the sun's shining. Like, not here. Like that kind of spring doesn't come here in Sweden until probably, you know, May 10th ish is about that first weekend in May is when you start to get the real spring feeling. So it's a long winter here. My God, it just never ends. In April, guys, I checked the weather forecast. We're literally going to have 29 days of rain and 1 day of sun. I mean, you can't fucking make it up. So if you love the rain, this is a great place to be. If you're like me and you like the sun, I'm glad we're only here visiting, and you know, we're going to be back in the States soon. And then going on some fun trips, which will be fun. All right. So anybody have any questions? Let me know. Post them in the chat. If you got any questions about funded futures, I know, you know, I've done quite a bit of research on all the different companies, and I got 1.55 million across UProfit and Top Step now. So I probably know, you know, more than the average person. So if you have questions about that, I can try to help you. Or questions about, you know, what we're seeing today or any of that, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just continue to chat and wait for good setups. It's 8:56 a.m. There's the bonds. And sometimes that's painful, guys. Like when you don't take a B- trade and it works and you're like, oh, I should have taken that. But I've kind of learned not to look at trading like that, because if you do, you're going to drive yourself nuts. You can't look at all the trades you thought looked okay, because the mind will play tricks on you, because you'll end up only seeing the trades, you know, that you passed on that worked. You won't pay that much attention to the ones that you passed on that you would have lost on, right? Because the mind will want to play those games and only see the trades that would have worked, right? So it's really important to try to be as, you know, objective and realistic about your trading as possible, because believe me, the mind will do everything in its power to fuck up your trading. It's a fact. And that's why, like, the technical part of trading is not that hard, right? Like clicking a button, it really is. Once you have a little bit of an edge, and there are lots of edges out there. I like my edge because I studied under a really famous guy and I made it my own, and it works great. I've been using it for a long, long time. But there are other edges that are really good too. But the hard part is the psychological part, the patience, the discipline, the organization, you know, just not getting involved in the woulda, coulda, shouldas of each trade. And, you know, most of the best traders I know are very, very patient traders, very patient. And then what they do is when they see the right trade, they load the fuck up. And that's, you know, in my view, that's the way to take risk. You want to take asymmetric risk, you know, all this kind of like, you know, take 1,000 trades and risk, you know, $1 on each trade. I mean, I think that's a losing proposition, especially in this day and age when you're competing against HFTs and, you know, just you got to be realistic about who's out there in the marketplace. So I think waiting for whatever your edge says is a really high probability setup, you know, those are the ones to just wait for. and then take those on bigger size when they, when they come. So I can show you, some examples. Well, I'll just show you live, because when I see a good one, we're going to load up. But that's why I'm, patient. And most of the day is just talking and waiting for setups and me kind of sharing my journey with you guys, answering questions if you have any. But the rest of the day is, pretty much just waiting. That's what it's all about. It's going to be interesting to see how the ship that took down that bridge where was that, in Baltimore? It's going to be interesting to see how that affects the supply chains, because that's a pretty big port there, and that could be another. It's not going to be like a COVID type situation, right? But it could be something that spooks the markets a little bit more than maybe people think, because there's a lot of industry, a lot of imports for, I think, the auto industry especially gets brought into that port there in Baltimore. So maybe not a good time to be long auto stocks. Maybe Tesla will keep going down. Who knows? I don't really follow the stock market, but I thought that was interesting. I'm more into the futures, the indices. I like to trade all the futures. So on my own accounts, I'll trade if I see a good setup on anything, corn, wheat, soybeans. I don't trade them that often, but we're coming into planting season right now. We've got a really big crop report coming out tomorrow that I'm going to look to maybe trade the soybeans on live here. But I'm not trading typically the currency futures or the grains on my funded accounts, because the tick value is so small for those, right? So on the funded accounts, you're limited to 3 contracts max, and I want to trade the bigger contracts so I can get bigger gains, right? So that's why I've got these major futures markets up that I'm cycling through. But tomorrow, with the big crop announcement, I think we, with 3 contracts on soybeans, we could try to hit a home run. So that'll be fun. I'm excited about that. What time does that come out? Let me check that for you guys. Let's see. Crop report, March 28th. Boom. So let's see here. Grain market March Madness tips off March 28th. Got the news here. You got the end of month acreage and stocks report. So stocks meaning like, the amount of grain for corn and soybeans. So this is a big one, because this is when they come up with all their forecasts. It's going to be interesting to see the market, the grains can go freaking nuts. See what time that comes out. If anybody knows, do you guys know what time that crop report comes out? Put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just find it here. Hope you guys can hear me all right with the mic. See what time this comes out. You can see over here, I'll show you. All right. So this is the crop report. March, let's see. March 28th, tomorrow. Corn prices, reaction after the March report is the big one, right? So you can see the day after, which kind of is the day of as well. I mean, you can get some really big moves. Look at soybeans. You get a lot of volatility. That'll be exciting. What time does that come out, though? Well, we'll find out. Comes out tomorrow. That'll be cool. See what else. See if I can. I do want to find that. Maybe it's on my other calendar. I don't think so. I use the dailyfx.com calendar. But see, they might give us the crop report. So tomorrow we've got GDP growth rate for the UK. That's London. We got unemployment change for Germany. Also London, 5 a.m. Eastern. And then we've got GDP in the US at 8:30. We got the Michigan consumer number tomorrow as well. Busy day. Prospective plantings, yeah. Okay, guys, it's at noon tomorrow. The crop report. That's going to be a big one. I think we're going to probably have to try and trade that, which should be exciting. Because at least if we're going to put 3 contracts at risk on soybeans, yeah, if we're wrong, we'll lose some money. But if we're right, you can catch a big move. That'll be really cool. I'll have to go back and look at some past ones to see how they typically react. If they just open and go, or do they do? I think they kind of they flush and they go kind of nuts, from what I remember. All right, that's good to know about the crop report for tomorrow, you guys. Very cool. Make sure we don't miss anything while we're waiting. So ES pushing higher, what we expect. NQ pushing higher. YM pushing higher. Bonds we're waiting for maybe a buy down in here. You know, depending, because you also, when your signal gets triggered here, you want to see what is the scoreboard doing at that moment in time. You know, what are all the asset classes telling you about the overall day that's unfolding, right? So I think for today, you're going to see a lot of chop on bonds, which is why, you know, the short side probably wasn't bad up here, but I think the long side is better. That's what I'm waiting for. Gold, remember we were kind of tempted with this support level here, but I made the decision that I want to wait for that support level. Let's see how that pans out. Silver, kind of the same thing. I was tempted in here originally, but then as I started to think through it, I thought, I want to wait till silver dumps a little bit. I'm really interested down at these lows here. And then crude, we do have the crude inventory number today at 10:30 Eastern. So I'll have the stock market open at 9:30. We might take a trade for that if I see a good level. We know we have a bullish bias, so that at least narrows the direction down to the long side. And then, you know, bullish bias, let's say for the open, I'll get back to the crude number in a moment, which is coming out at 10:30, the EIA inventories number for crude oil. But for the NASDAQ, for example, here at the open, you know, I would just be looking for, since I think we're going to continue to head higher, I would look to try and get long a flush, you know, maybe down around this low, 18,500, somewhere in there. Oftentimes it won't flush down and fill you, but when it does, it can be a really good trade. So also keep an eye on the ES at the open. Maybe look to get long down into 52.75. But the NASDAQ is a lot more volatile in the open, so probably the one we're going to focus on. And in the meantime, just continue to wait for these other markets to come to us. There's the ultra bonds, there's gold, there's silver, there's crude. That's just the number one thing I can say is what Larry Pesavento says. You know, it's not about the money you make, it's about the money you don't lose. You know, being a successful trader is about not stepping on landmines. Like, you're just walking through a minefield and you can see the mines. It's not like a minefield where the mines are hidden. They're above the sand. You can see them, right? And then your goal is just to not step on them, right? Those are the trades that just blow you up. The goal is just to wait for the good trades. Super important. All right. So bonds are dropping there. I think this is good. We got the dollar. That's the thing. That was the reason why I said I'm going to wait for metals to go back and retest their low of the day, is because I do expect a stronger dollar today and the rest of the week, right? So that's going to be a headwind for the metals, right? If the dollar is strong. So that's why I'm not like, oh, I see a good buy pattern on gold or silver and I rush right in. No, because the dollar looks like it's going to be strong and metals are going to be a lot more supported when the dollar is weak. You know, that's the regime we're in right now. It was a bummer. I wanted to buy Bitcoin. I'll show you Bitcoin, guys. When we had that 11% day, this was just, according to my methodology here, this is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. You just had a perfect pullback right to that extension. And I mean, this was just a beautiful pullback to buy this. And then the daily, you see how the daily challenged all this down here. This is where I wanted to buy Bitcoin. And I realized on the funded accounts, you can only buy micro Bitcoin. You can't buy. So in other words, I'm limited on three contracts on most of these accounts, right? So what am I going to buy? You know, a third of 1 Bitcoin. It's like, and I tie up all my liquidity for the day. So that's one of those trades right there. When I saw that, that's where you load up. That's the asymmetric gain that you can get. I mean, if we could have traded a normal Bitcoin contract here, that's 5 Bitcoins per contract. You know, then you get a nice $5,000 move. That's 25 grand, you know. Now I know why the prop firms don't want us to trade Bitcoin. Why they limit us to the micros, which is a micro Bitcoin contract. I believe, I read about it. I might be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I think it's literally 1/10 of 1 Bitcoin. You got to put on 10 of those micros to even make 1 Bitcoin. So even though I saw the signal here, I was like, I want to go long there. I couldn't, because I couldn't tie up I couldn't go 3 contracts and have 3/10 of a Bitcoin. So, and I don't trade my own accounts on Bitcoin just because the volatility kind of scares me a little bit. But the funded accounts, I would have loved to have gone long the Bitcoin there. You know, with gaps and stuff, I'm not willing to take a $10,000 loss on my own account. But with the funded accounts, I would have been willing to risk one of my full max daily risks. So anyways, that was a really good buy there for Bitcoin a couple days ago when you had that explosion to the upside. I did see it ahead of time, and I believe I was doing all the research. I was like, all right, I'm going to buy this with the funded accounts. And then that's when I found out, oh, you can only buy micros. No bueno. All right. So ES, we still got some contracts here to trade, but we got our game plan heading into the open. NQ is the same. YM, we're waiting. Ultra bonds, okay, we're coming back down here. So that's nice. We'll see if we get our long down here somewhere. So gold, we're waiting. Silver, we're waiting. Nice. See, I've got my patterns too, right? So I wait for, like, silver, for example. I didn't see this yesterday because this was toward the end of the day. This was on that pension rebalancing. But that's just a beauty. These are the ones I love. Just a flush, right? And I call that an exhaust. Right to the extension trend line right there. I mean, if you pick those the right way, they just slingshot back the other way. I think Lance Breitstein calls it like a V recovery. For me, I just call it an exhaust because that's what my mentor called it. It always made sense to me. The market is exhausting itself and it's going to spring back the other way. Now, if it's breaking out for real and you think it's an exhaust, then you're going to be in trouble. But when you can identify where to take them, they're really fantastic trades. So that's why here I would be rooting for silver to just flush down like this below these lows. Maybe go to that steep extension right down there. Boom. That's one today on silver. As long as the dollar is not too strong, that's the one I would love to buy for the slingshot back the other way. Just like that. This is how we plan these trades out. Oh my God, the sun is shining. I might have to open. I got one window open. I might have to open another window here soon. Let me do that. Let me open a window, guys. They're crossbreed. All right, we got the cross breeze rolling. A bit of stretching. I got my standing desk rocking and rolling. I couldn't go to the gym today because they were doing a 2-day deep cleanse of the spa area. No real point in going if I can't do a sauna and an ice bath afterwards. So hopefully it'll be open tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow is yours truly's birthday. Very exciting. Have a birthday on the crop day. Hopefully tomorrow is a good day on my birthday. That would be nice. All right. So let's do a quick check-in. The crude is probably just going to wait here for the inventories number at 10:30. So we're waiting on crude there. I think that could be a good one for us. We know that silver and gold, we're kind of waiting to see if we get a good buy signal down here into these support levels, which I think should be strong as long as the dollar doesn't get too strong today against the euro. The ultra bonds, we're interested in the long down in here somewhere, because why is that? Well, we're in congestion here, right? You see how this is, according to my methodology, this is my congestion playbook. You see how you're going like this. So now if we go back down here, I would try and buy for a move back up. And because we're in congestion, that's why I said, well, I could have shorted here to move back down here. But I do think that the weekly and the daily support levels here are stronger, and that the side most likely to break is up. So that's why I'm patiently waiting for the long side. Now, I might be wrong, but I got to trade what I see, right? That's all I can do. So that's what we're waiting for. And you know, the bonds, gold, silver, those would be relatively correlated, right? So you can also see if you get a signal in one, what are the other ones doing? What's the dollar doing? That's really important. So for the open here in 15 minutes, I really would like to get a chance to long the NASDAQ. So I definitely will, probably on at least the top step funded, one of the top step funded ones here. I'll try to get long the NASDAQ down around 18,480. See if we can get a little flush at the open, get long, and you know, catch and move up, because I do think the indices will be well supported today. So that's what we're going to be looking for. What do you guys think? What do you trade, by the way? You guys trade only indices? Do you trade something else? What's your bias for today? What do you think is going to happen? I would be curious to know. I think we're going up. If you look at well, that's Bitcoin. Let's look at NQ on the daily and the weekly charts. I think you got a very similar, so in my methodology, you call this area here the congestion support lows right there. And I expected that to be strong this week, and I expect this to go back up to probably those highs, 18.7. I don't know if we're going to go there today, but I think today the likelihood of us pushing at least back up to those highs is pretty darn good. And right now we're only halfway there. So the question at the open is, do you want to buy it and just hope, or do you want to wait for a little pullback? For me, for the risk to reward proposition, I've got to wait for the pullback. I mean, we've got a lot of support now into 18.5, just above 18.5. So we may not get the pullback way down here to 480. You know, maybe 18.520. This could be a good spot, because I think this trend to the upside now is pretty well intact on the NASDAQ. You see we're trending up nicely. So, and I do think this could be a pretty decent little trend, you know, continuation at the open. I could be wrong, but if I'm right, then the middle of the moving average envelope here is what my playbook says, where we should try and buy that for a push like this. So that's the area there that I'm going to be most interested in buying. That'll be 18.520. And then, you know, I'll keep an eye and watch it. Like if price goes down there and I can see it holding, that's where I might take a shot. Or if that looks weak, I'd be looking to buy here at 18.480. That's what I'm gonna do. All right, so let's take a 15, well, not 15 minutes, but about a 10-minute break until the open. We'll get ready for the open. I got to use the restroom. We'll trade the NASDAQ at the open while we're waiting for bonds to set up a long, gold maybe to set up a long, silver to set up a long, and crude maybe to set up a long. But at the open, we will trade the NASDAQ. We just have to wait for the open, which is in 12 minutes, and that gives me time to use the restroom and stretch my legs, and then I'll be back, and we will rock and roll. All right, be right back, you guys. Guys, we're taking a 10-minute break here. Just, well, not 10 minutes, maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes. I just got to use the restroom, and then we're going to trade the NASDAQ on the open. Looking to get long down into about 18,520. So I'll be right back. All right, everybody, we're back. We're back. Let's go ahead and turn on our webcam. Boom. There we are. It's funny when I'm in the picture, it looks like the horns are on my head. I like the new logo, though. It's kind of cool. That was designed by AI, by ChatGPT. All right, so let's go ahead and prepare. We've got 6 minutes for the open. It's probably, we're going to be looking at NQ on Top Step. Let's go. NQ, I do have the right account open. We're going to have to do 3 contracts because we don't do anything less. What kind of a stop do I want? I guess I probably want like a 25-point stop. I mean, that's 100 ticks on the NASDAQ. Take profit, you know, maybe like a 60-point profit, something like that. Maybe 225 ticks. You can always get out earlier, something like that. That'll be good. I'll probably just trade it. Probably just trade it on Top Step, I think, because the open's kind of quick, so I don't really have time to double execute on UProfit and Top Step. So probably just do a Top Step account, guys, here at the open. That will be fine. And the question is, reviewing stuff here. Yeah, so if we got 3 contracts with 25 points, right? That would be about $1,500, I believe, which is true. So $1,500. See if we just doing some math here, guys, because I gotta get my calculator out. Ops and all this kind of stuff. 25 points. Got it. All right. Good. You here, guys? Double checking everything. Okay, so we'll focus on this Top Step account here. You can see in front of you, this is the DOM here. I won't trade UProfit on this one. Just I don't have. It's too fast for me to try and execute on both. And I'm interested in 18,520 down in here. So if it punches down there and I like what I see, we might take a shot. And if we lose, we'll lose $1,500. If we win, we'll make a little money. So it won't be too bad. That's what we're going to be looking for. And all right. So what do you guys think? Long or short? I'm going long. But the opens, guys, the last couple of days, I mean, look here. Still got 3 minutes. This was the open yesterday right here. We literally just did nothing for like a half hour. The day before that was very similar, I believe. Yeah, day before that was... we went a little lower on that day. So it was ES. You know, ES is just not good at the open. I was watching ES yesterday. I don't like ES. So let's do this. This will be good. We might risk, if we get a good entry here, we'll risk $1,500 to make 3 grand is basically what it comes down to, something like that. Which is, you know, hey. If we lose, we lose. We got backup accounts. We've got 2 minutes, you guys. Remember, I'm kind of interested in this 520 area. And you'll see the open position on the this one here above my head. This black one, this is Top Step here. You see the open positions there if we go long. All right, we've got about a minute to go. I think we need some chocolate. What do you guys think? All right, we got our top secret chocolate shelf here. We're going to go long on a pullback to 520, hopefully. See, dialed in. We're good to go. We're ready to rock. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I mean, it's pretty strong here. Question is, are we going to get a pullback down into this, 520, anywhere down in here, 500 to 520? That's what we're looking for. We're at 10 seconds. Three. There's the open. We're looking for a flush down to 520. If I don't get it, I can't go in because I just have to wait. Let's see what ES is pushing. So very bullish coming into the day, coming into the open. We're just looking for some kind of a pullback, which right now is not happening, but we will see. It's always best just to not have FOMO, just wait, see what happens. We know we want to get long down in here somewhere potentially, so if the market comes back and gives us a long, we try and get long. If not, we don't. Oh. Check on ES. That's pretty bullish. So somewhere down here, let's just see. $520 is kind of what I like. Down here somewhere. Really just depends. Or I wait until this bar closes. I have to see what the price action looks like. This is a pretty wide support zone. Could be support anywhere from here, around 525, all the way down to 480. And I've only got a 25-point stop, right? So I gotta, try to pick it right. Just waiting, haven't quite come down to our first level. See what ES is doing. Pretty bullish. I really want to see a flush down in here somewhere. Okay, we're starting to break through some support. See, the lower we go, I think the better the buy opportunity is. So I'm just gonna wait here, see if we can get a move lower. My first level here, 520. I'm gonna buy it. I might miss it, but I kind of want to just see if we go down here toward 500. And the reason I'm being patient is because we went higher first. And so there could be some temporary trap longs where they drive it a little lower to make them feel the pain. Had we opened to come lower first, I would have been much more willing to buy straight down into 520. As it is, this 520 level might hold. But I think it's prudent just to let it develop. All right, we're just patiently waiting. Okay, so anywhere down there would be great. We got about 10,000 contracts left till this closes. So I'm waiting to get long anywhere down in here. I think we're going to push higher. Just want to see if we can get, because we went higher first, so we could have trapped a little bit of the longs up there, which means it could just push a little deeper into this pocket. That's why I'm waiting, even though my original level was 520. So, but anywhere down here would be a great spot to try and buy, which I will if it gets down there. 18.5 is a nice round number down there, so. Got about 8,000 contracts left till this closes. All right, we're waiting. We're getting the flush. This is what we want. Down around 480 would be very nice. Just gonna wait a little bit. We're almost. All right, we're long. We'll see. It's tough here at the open. Just watching and thinking. You can see the, I don't know why the P&L is not here, but anyways, you can see the P&L at the bottom of the DOM down here. Should be up here. I'm not really sure why it's not there. Oh, it's positions. Okay, I'll show you guys. I'll bring that over here. Here. See what happens. Could go either way. We followed our plan, so that's good. That's all we can do. I think you can see the positions now. There's the position. Might go down, and our stop is kind of close. We don't have a super wide stop on this, but it's where it needs to be. I don't like that the first reaction higher didn't push through that 520 level. That I would have liked to see follow through up through 520 there on the first attempt. I'm going to move this just a little bit further back here. I think I need to give it a little bit more room. See what happens. 59.75. What's ES doing? ES is holding up there for now, so I'd like to see NASDAQ try and catch back up. Big selling coming in there. I mean, the Dow is off to the races. Bonds had a nice pullback. I mean, the NASDAQ, everything says it's kind of in a good position to go up from here. ES is holding on up here. Dow is pushing higher. Rates are stable. The dollar's a little strong, which can weigh on the NASDAQ. That might be the one thing. Oh, silver had a look at that, guys, on silver. Wow. Well, let's hope NASDAQ can race back up here. I mean, I don't like that it's struggling down here, but at the same time, all the indications are that we've got a good trade. So I would have liked to get a better entry maybe down here at 87. But I can't make it. I can't make it perfect. Question is, are the other indices leading the NASDAQ higher, or is the NASDAQ leading the other indices lower? About to find out. ES is holding on for now. Just being pretty stubborn here right now. We've been open now for 15 minutes. You see NASDAQ's trying to push higher while ES is staying relatively supported here. So, I mean, hopefully the NASDAQ will rip to the upside, but right now it's not looking great. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know why ES looks good, Dow looks good. I don't know why NASDAQ is lagging, but we're going to have to hang on for now. Hope we get a push. But see, every time we rally, we're getting some pretty big sell orders. But I think with ES and the Dow still hanging on up there, I got to hold on to the NASDAQ. There's just been so few good opportunities lately that I'm just, you know, this was a pretty good opportunity that I had to take, regardless of the outcome. You see, we're long there from 503. Every time it kind of gets back up there, it stalls out. But I mean, look at ES pushing higher. The question is the NASDAQ going to drag the ES lower, or is the ES going to drag the NASDAQ higher? I mean, right now the ES looks pretty strong, so I'm hoping that the ES will drag the NASDAQ higher. But I don't like to see this much struggle out of the NASDAQ at this level. So far, it's really struggling. Kind of strange. I mean, the Dow's holding on here. ES is holding on. I mean, ideally, we'd see a pretty fast squeeze to the upside on the NASDAQ. Hopefully, if a bunch of shorts need to cover, and we can get a good squeeze going and make some money. ES is pushing higher. That is what we want to see. The NASDAQ stalled out last time at 520. Let's see if we can get through that 520 level. This is where it's stalling out. Got a little bit of a headache. I'll have to get a aspirin soon. But certainly the NASDAQ squeezing up to the old highs there would help my headache. Yeah, everything else is up. I don't know why the NASDAQ is really struggling here, but I'm going to hold on. But I don't like that the NASDAQ is struggling like this. S&P is holding on. Dow's in a nice trend. I think it's really just the dollar is affecting the NASDAQ, but you know, the probabilities are that the NASDAQ should catch up to ES and the Dow, unless the NASDAQ is leading everything lower. But the S&P and the Dow look pretty strong right now. I don't know. See, there's just a lot of pressure on the NASDAQ every time we push up into 520. And it's just it's hard to watch. Like, why is the NASDAQ struggling this much when the S&P and the Dow are doing well? The Russell's doing well. You just need the NASDAQ to get a match lit underneath it, fire to the upside, and catch back up. I mean, S&P's making new highs. Dow's making new highs. See if the NASDAQ can get back up to its highs. Really struggling so far. Yeah, we're assuming the NASDAQ will catch up to the S&P and the Dow, but I don't like to see the NASDAQ struggling this much right here. It's incredible. There's ES. Dow's pushing. Bonds are all right. Crude, we got the inventory number coming out in a bit. I mean, let's see if the NASDAQ can just get up there. It's just kind of how it's been lately, guys. It's just a lot of chop. You know, it's just you haven't had the same. Before, you'd get in a good position, you know, and if it was right, it would kind of just go. Whereas lately, it's like just making you kind of suffer more through through just a ton of chop. Look at this. What is the NASDAQ doing? Man, it's just being met with a lot of selling there. I don't know, guys. The NASDAQ might be about to lead everything else lower. I mean, it's not looking good right now. It's failed up there now many times. Not really sure what it's doing, to be honest. Strange Easter markets, guys. Whew. Very strange. Definitely not liking it. Probably going to be stopped out here shortly. Man, NASDAQ is freaking heavy. Here we go. Wow. Impressive. Wow. About to be stopped out here, guys. Stopped out of that one. That hurt. All right. Well, that was tough. That was a tough open. I'm just going to have to live with that outcome. I lost $2,000 on that. That's all right. I guess we'll just keep trading this account. We got about $1,000 left, but that was a tough open. Whew. I mean, ES just flying up here, and the NASDAQ just grinding us down. It's impressive. All right, so that's a loss. That was fun. Dow, no problem. Ultra bond hanging out. Gold, no problem. It's just the NASDAQ just absolutely punishing here. So that's it. All right, well, we'll have to probably try another trade. Only got about 1,000 in draw left here, so I might have to switch to another account. Go ahead and switch to a different account. All right, so that was a lot of support right there being broken from the NASDAQ. We lost $2,000 on that trade. I'm gonna have to switch to a different account. I think there's a lot of support down here. This is just very strange, you guys. The ES just chilling out up here, no big deal. The Dow, no problem. The NASDAQ, I'm gonna probably. It's impressive. It was in the middle of the range, but we had a pretty good little. Wow, yeah, there's a big reversal on the NASDAQ here. That's why. Well, that's what happens. I thought we were going to go back to these highs and we're just collapsing. Okay. That's the way she wants to play it. Let's see. I mean, it's just ES isn't collapsing. I think the NASDAQ's a fake out down here. I'm going to probably have to get long again. I only have 1,000 in draw though on this account. So do I want to use a different account? Maybe. Not really sure. No, I'll go ahead and I'll just do contracts on that with $1,000. It's only not that much. What am I down exactly? I'm down, yeah, $2,000 exactly. Yeah, so I can do 2 contracts. I can do 25 points. Okay, we'll try that. Strange. I mean, the NASDAQ's the only one that's just falling out of bed here, so I'm just not buying it. I think you're going to see a lot of support here. I'm just going to take a shot and risk. Because, you know, Top Step has a $3,000 max loss per account. So I'm down $2,000 on this account. I'll just see. I still think there's a lot of support down here, so. Because ES just isn't following at all. I mean, look at ES here. I mean, NASDAQ's way the hell down here. So I think the NASDAQ might just be going for these lows. Must be a lot of stops down there they need to get. I'm willing to, well, with 2 contracts, that'll give me a 25-point stop, which right now isn't much. There's a lot of support here, temporarily. See, what's strange about this move in the NASDAQ is you've got the bonds doing absolutely nothing. 10-year yield is stable. Gold and silver aren't doing much. The Dow's pushing higher. the ES is not really following to the downside, so I think the NASDAQ has overdone its welcome here. A tough day. Here we go. Ooh. There we go. Probably going to get stopped out at the lows on this account. Still in for now, but I mean, this is just, you're looking at the ES going, what's going on here with the NASDAQ? Just super weird. Wow. Man, just cannot catch a break here. Going right back to my break even. I was going to close it. It just didn't give me a chance. Oh man. Here we go. Wow. Wow. And we're out. Okay. Well, there's that account. 3K. That is tough, guys. This is very unexpected. Gonna have to regroup here. I'm not understanding why this is happening. See if there's any news out. There's got to be something going on because this is very strange. Oh, here we go. The Bank of Japan is holding an emergency meeting right now. We will take bold there you go, guys. We just got caught in a little bit of a black swan here at the open. This never, ever, ever, ever happens until it happens. So now you get to see, right? This is when you're looking at stuff going, what the fuck is going on? That's what's going on. All right. Okay, now we know why. Emergency meeting by the Bank of Japan right now. So we're going to have to... this is what's going on, guys. Wow. Incredible. Okay. See. Okay. So let's go here. Let's change. Go ahead and change. So that is why, guys. Emergency meeting by the Bank of fucking Japan. Jesus Christ. Fucking Bank of Japan. Unreal. There's something going on, guys. I think we might have some good shorting here on maybe some of these other accounts. We'll see. Because this is just, you don't see this kind of a reversal very often. There's something going on. Dow pushing super high, S&P pushing beautifully, and the NASDAQ, you can just see it's tough. Bonds don't know what to make of it. Gold is probably going to be buoyed. I guess maybe this is why we're seeing a move in silver, crude. All right, so now it looks like we're going to have, yeah, I think we're going to have to play the short side now, guys. I'm going to wait because this is a major failure of support. Well, this is why we have a lot of funded accounts. Now we're going to go to a little bit of a mini swan today, certainly. That was very unexpected. So I will be looking to play the short side now on a couple of accounts. Give me 1 second here, guys. Kind of getting some stuff settled here. Okay. That's nice. All right, so we're gonna have to try and regroup here. We're down $3 grand on one Top Step account. Where does it show that? You can see it here. I guess you do need to see it here. Okay, so here, if I move this, the positions you'll have to see on the DOM there, but at least here you can see we lost 3K, and it turns out there is. I was wondering because all the levels here were very strong, and the way that ES was just sitting up here for so long, the Dow was making fresh highs, ES was making fresh highs. You know, most of the time that NASDAQ catch-up trade is pretty good money in the bank. So I don't mind taking that loss. It was a good trade. Just ended up losing, and I had to use a wider stop because of the volatility, but that's fine. But then I wondered what the fuck is going on, and sure enough, the Bank of Japan is having an emergency meeting right now. So that's pretty much what's going on. Because this is just a pretty radical reversal here. You can see on the daily. I mean, we're gonna play the short side now the rest of the day. So that's why I'm gonna take some more risk on some more funded accounts, and we're either gonna have a big down day or we're gonna, well, we'll see what happens. But at least the markets are moving. So let's go. There's ES. I mean, NQ is just heavy. I mean, this is pretty. I didn't expect this. When we're 570 up there at the high, down here to 390. That's a pretty good little move right there. Okay, well that brings my funded profits down to 5K. I was up at about 8K, but that's fine. There's going to be big swings here going aggressive. I'm okay with that. Let's see what the YM is doing. YM, look, just hanging out. No big deal. Ultra bonds, just chilling like a villain. Gold, no big deal. Just hanging out. Silver, nope, silver's chilling. Crude, guys, the NASDAQ is in a fucking world of its own right now. Just collapsing. Oh God. Well, I'm gonna take a little break. On the next trade, if I see if I see a good short that I like on the NASDAQ, so I don't think, based on what we're seeing here, I think the odds are the NASDAQ's headed down here to 18.3 instead of way back up here. So I think the pressure, I think a lot of longs, I don't think I was the only one that got, you know, smashed right there. So I'm going to be looking to play some shorts. See what our 8,000 share bar is doing. Hey, this is just, that is an impressive drop. Wow. I'm going to wait and see if we get a good pattern to short, and then I might short a bunch of contracts. We'll see. Guys, it's a numbers game. That's why we got lots of funded accounts. That was one. All right, that's that. There. Okay. Do this one. So here. I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to try and get short a bounce. I want to short the NASDAQ, but this is tough. We got to see. We might have to go down. This is quite a change of pace here. So yeah, you can see it rolled over there. Probably 420 is where you had to get short. So I'm just waiting. I don't know if I'm going to get it. That might have been the only bounce right there. But this thing is just collapsing. A lot of people off sides here, guys. I'm trying to get short. I think I just got to try and pick a good entry, which is kind of difficult with this volatility, but let's see what happens. I'm waiting for this higher time period to kind of give me a short trigger up here at 450. Something like that. This thing looks very heavy. I'm going to have to take a shot here on this other Top Step account. All right. Use the restroom real quick, guys, while I wait. I don't want to miss a short, though. Waiting for a move back up here, maybe to 440 or so. I'm going to run to the bathroom, guys. I'll be right back. All right, we're waiting to potentially get short up here somewhere. Just waiting for a little bit of a pullback on the higher time period. We're down 3K. Swapping back and forth here. I want to look to get short. I think this market is headed lower. Here's the, I think we're going to see, this is the 8,000 contract. This is the lower time period. You got to move it. You got to use it in fast markets sometimes. But really, I want to make my decision here on the higher time period. We'll see. Is this going to pull back now for a reversal back up? I think this is a pullback that I'm going to have to try and short for a move back down. We'll see. Oh, we'll see what happens here. Oh, I think I was a little early there. And the volatility has picked up a lot. I think this is going down, but I think I was just a little early. There's some big selling coming in, but just no fucking follow through. Wow. Wow. And this volatility is intense. Look at this, you guys. These are just massive moves. I'm short, so really like to see it take out these lows. Wow, look at that. Big buying coming in right there. Man, you just can't catch a break, huh? You just want this thing to collapse. It's like you're short, you just want it to fucking collapse. Unbelievable. Oh. This is a tough market to trade right now, my God. Very difficult. Very difficult market. Why? It just tough. Trying to drop. Look at all that support right there. It just won't break through. Come on, just snap through. Oh gosh, look at this, guys. This is incredible. We haven't seen this kind of volatility in a while. I'm short from 421 up there, but it's just, something's holding it up there at 414. But I just can't bail on this short position right here. But I want it to crack that 410 level. Oh gosh. Just go down. Look at that. A lot of support there. Ugh. Just need a crack to the downside. Nope. Wow. This is incredible. All right, I flattened that out at break even because this is fucking insane right now. Jesus. Whew. All right, so let's see. We're down about $3 grand, and this is tough. I think this is going to go down, but for fuck's sake, the amount of volatility right here, right now is just insane. We have not seen this in a long time. Like right here, just it's tough, man. Sometimes you just get that short and it'll fucking flush. And in this case, this is tough. I think it's going down, but I don't know. It's not easy. I might re-enter, but this is difficult trading conditions. Very difficult. Especially when we switch from an environment. We've had such low volatility lately, like painfully low, and then boom, today it's on. You're like, all right, let's see. This is tough. I'm gonna have to see what the other. I think this is going down here. But bonds are pushing up, yields are dropping. No, nothing else is doing anything. Crude numbers coming out soon. I think NASDAQ's going to drop now that we're not in. Yeah, I think it's going to. This is just wild, wild trading. Yeah, there you go. You get these big orders coming in and then just massive absorption. Wow. Whew. I'm still interested in shorting. It's just want to see where this bar closes. Wow, you guys see that? Look at this. Wow, crazy volatility. Unreal. We haven't seen this in a while. Big orders hitting the market. This is an absolutely insane amount of volatility. Wow. Look at that. Man, I gotta wait. I just, I don't know what this is doing. I think it looks like it wants to drop, but this is tough to read. Let's just take a break. I mean, ES is just not, I mean, ES is not doing a whole lot. The Dow stabilizing. Ultra bonds are pushing higher, meaning yields are dropping. I mean, this is a strange, that was a very strange flush right there in the NASDAQ. That's weird. Like the crude number came out at 10:30. There's like no volatility in crude. This is a weird fucking day, I gotta say. Super weird. Gosh, so weird. I think this is going down, but I can't read. The NASDAQ is in its own little world right now. I think it's gonna go down there, but gonna have to wait and see. We're just gonna refresh here. Down 3K, no biggie. This is just very difficult to read, you guys. The Russell and the Dow are up nicely. ES is hanging on to gains. And the NASDAQ just fucking collapsed for no reason at all. Just, wow. Incredible. Really incredible. Are we putting in a bottom here on the NASDAQ? I don't know. I mean, I don't. The NASDAQ looks weak. Looks very, very weak. But we haven't seen this kind of intra-bar volatility in a long, long time. Let's look at the ultra bonds here. Ultra bonds are doing just nothing. It's incredible. Gold is doing nothing. Silver is doing nothing. Wow. Crude is not really doing a whole lot. I mean, crude could rally here. A lot of support on crude. But I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. All right, I'm going to get a aspirin for my headache. Be right back. All right. We are down about 3K, and whew, this is a tough market to read today. My God. I don't know. This must be because really at the open there, you've got a 560, a 200-point flush. I didn't see that coming and got caught in it. This must be end of quarter pension rebalancing. I'm not really sure, but this is what happens when you trade. Sometimes things happen that you don't understand and you take some losses. So let's see if we can get some good setups here. We're down 3 grand. You can see here on the top step accounts. Brings my overall profit down to 5K across all these accounts. But I'm not really keeping track in that sense. It's more, I'm either going to get some big payouts or I'm going to blow some out and, you know, get some more accounts. Because that's what I'm doing coming into these very, very aggressive. All right, so here's ES about to get a close. You know, is that a short on ES up here? Could be. I mean, I think ES looks like it could be a decent short. Just setting up some take profit and limits here. I mean that's not a bad little short signal there on ES. It isn't. And I'm short ES. Should have tried to short that All right, so we're short. Target would be down here around 6.7. That was a big sell order. It has my limit at 40. That's a bit of a ways, but let's see. Maybe we can catch a bit of a drop here. We'll see. That's the goal. I got in a little late on this trade. I wanted to get in about 79 and a half. As it is, I'm in at 78. That's okay. On this trade, I got to look at what the top step scaling plan is. If I'm able to go 5 contracts on this account right now. See what what account number this is. And probably go more contracts. It's a lot to keep track of. I guess I'll just be content with 3 contracts right now. Now let me check the scaling plan. Let's see here. Okay, here's the scaling plan. I guess I'm at 4 lots on this account. Yeah, okay. I could have done 1 extra. I guess it's fine. I may put 1 more on. See here. My risk on this trade will be, let's see, probably about 10 points maybe. I don't know. I really don't want it to go back up here to 85. We'll just see what happens. Well, let's just see if we can get a little bit of a drop here. Short from 78, so you know I'd be happy with them with a drop down here to, like, you know, down in here somewhere. There were some pretty big sell orders coming in, but I don't know, tricky day, because you had that the NASDAQ just absolutely flushing out of nowhere. And now ES and Dow are still kind of sitting up here. Bonds are stable, so I'm not really... The dollar's not doing a whole lot. I mean, it's kind of a weird day, to be honest. So I guess if you're going to take some big losses, it's going to be on those days where it's just a little strange. So we'll see. I guess we should probably go 1 more contract on this, to be honest. Because I definitely can. It's just the scaling plan. Yeah, they say. I had a $1,600 balance on this account before the day started. And you can go 4 contracts when you're above 1,500 bucks. I just don't want to break a rule. Top Step won't fail you if you break a rule, but they don't like it. Whereas you Profit, they will fail you if you break a rule. So you really got it. When stuff is moving fast, you have to make sure you're not, you know, clicking the wrong buttons and things like that. I guess we'll just keep our 3 contracts on for right now. If we can get a drop down here, that would be nice, because the goal here, right, I'm not treating these accounts. I'd just like to get this account, if I can get a decent win, then I can get this up to $3,000 in profit and unlock more contracts would be nice. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a flush down here on ES. That would be nice. I'm looking for something down here into 66 is the goal. That would be the goal. ES just kind of moves like a tank. So I'm just looking to see if I can't get a flush down here to like 67 or so. Short-term goal on this trade. It's weird. The Russell's up 1%. The Dow's not really dropping. So I don't know. This is just a weird day, you guys. Sure would be nice if we could just get a little bit of a flush on the ES here. Fine. The markets are moving so so different, you know, in relationship to each other. All right, we're short 3 ES from 78, I think, but gosh, it's trying to break through the support. I'm just trying to get a little snap down to 67. So far, something's holding it up. You know, ES can be strange. Sometimes it'll just be sitting here and then it'll just do nothing and then it'll snap. Not an easy day though, because you got the NASDAQ with that huge fucking flush, and now you got the Dow sitting at, you know, up 0.5%. The Russell's up over 1%. Then I'm sitting here short the ES, which feels really weird when the Russell and the Dow are up nicely. You know, it's just it's a strange day. But yet the NASDAQ had a 200-point flush at the open. Just super weird. I really don't know what to make of stuff right now. I'm trying to give this one a chance to snap a little lower, but I got to admit, I kind of want to take it off because it's a weird day. All right, I closed it because I'm just I'm really not understanding what's happening today, guys. This is just a strange market. Made a little bit back there, that was good, but still just a weird market right now. I think I'm down, I don't know, I'm down about 3 grand. Strange. I don't know if it's Easter week, end of quarter, pension fund rebalancing, but that was just weird to be that offsides. Just strange. Okay, let's make sure we're flat across everything here. Got so many accounts going, you guys. All right, I got to regroup here a little bit. So this is just, I don't know where this came from here. Just all of a sudden, NASDAQ opens, you know, we're at 18, whatever, 570, and then just all the way down to, you know, 370. So 200-point flush there at the open. Bonds are not doing anything. The dollar's not doing anything. Nothing's doing anything except the NASDAQ just flushes, and I can't make sense of that. And that's usually you can make sense of what's going on, but not today. And I guess it is quarter end or rebalancing. I'm not really sure. And meanwhile, you've got the Dow. I mean, this is tough. Ultra bonds pushing higher. So that was kind of what we thought was going to happen. It didn't go down to our support level. Gold. Silver's not doing a lot. Crude's doing nothing. This is strange, guys. Very strange. All right, well, look, it's 11 a.m., so I'm going to cut the live stream. It's been great. I'm down $3 grand, so we'll see. I might go down 3 more grand, or I might make it back. I'm going to take a little break, a little dinner break, and then probably trade some more. See what happens, you guys. So check back in for the recap at the end of the day. Thanks for joining me.